Chapter 476 to 477. Previously, Orochimaru didn't believe in Fujin's rhetorical words. Rescue Yuhi Kurenai? As if. Orochimaru didn't think that the sudden appearance of Fujin at this shrine was just to rescue Yuhi Kurenai. After all, the girl is just a Tokubetsu Jonin, and in terms of political status she is of civilian background. Unlike the Uchiha, Senju, Hyuga, or Uzumaki that are noble shinobi clans, and Yuhi Kurenai neither has any special Kekkei Genkai nor any secret jutsu that would be useful to Amatsukami, at least not that Orochimaru can think of. Although she is a member of an elite Umbu squad, that still doesn't make her important enough for Amatsukami to care. At the same time, the bounty on Yuhi Kurenai's head is not big enough to enter Amatsukami's field of vision. So then why would a member of the mysterious Amatsukami organization bother about what happens to her? Orochimaru initially suspected that Fujin is just trying to confuse him, and that his real intentions are different. Maybe Fujin intends to capture Orochimaru, and this possibility is indeed reasonable. After all, Orochimaru has a big bounty on his head, along with many kinjutsu that Orochimaru has in his hands, and he is also a former member of the Akatsuki organization, so knows quite a lot about it. So it wouldn't be wrong to assume that Fujin is here to capture or kill him. Yuhi Kurenai is being used as a decoy to distract Orochimaru. The second possibility is that Amatsukami is also after the Sword of Totsuka, and this guess is also reasonable considering the Sword of Totsuka's abilities and the location of this shrine. But after observing Fujin's actions and him continuously protecting Yuhi Kurenai regardless of the consequences, Orochimaru was a little uncertain about his initial doubt, and started to analyze why would Fujin, a member of Amatsukami, rescue Yuhi Kurenai. Suddenly, Orochimaru had a guess in his heart. Fujin probably knows Yuhi Kurenai on a personal level, and there is an uncertain relationship between these two. And it is also possible that Yuhi Kurenai is Amatsukami's spy in Konoha. This guess of Orochimaru is also not unreasonable, because he can't think of any other possible reasons that would make Amatsukami care about Yuhi Kurenai's safety, so it is very likely that Yuhi Kurenai either has an uncertain relationship with Fujin or knows him on a personal level, or she is a spy, and probably knows some secret information about the Amatsukami organization, and Amatsukami doesn't want that information to get in others' hands, as it could be detrimental to their organization. Thinking so, Orochimaru licked his lips. Now he is also curious and eager to know what information Yuhi Kurenai hides. With these intentions of his, Orochimaru muttered, "Let's take this up a notch," and weaved hand seals. On Fujin and Kurenai's side, numerous trees crazily grew and continuously tried to entangle Fujin and Kurenai. Although Fujin wasn't struggling much and was able to continuously cut down these growing trees, the area he could move around was also getting limited as time passed. As for why wasn't he flying away and getting away instantly, there are two reasons. The first reason is obviously that he wants to lead Orochimaru as far away from the shrine as possible. After all, Itachi and Shursui are probably also around. Fujin doesn't want Orochimaru to meet either of those two here. The second is that because he wants to use this clone for some fierce fighting, flying away would make Orochimaru helpless and unable to catch up to him. Therefore he is shuttling through the forest. But Kurenai, who is being carried around by the iron sand, doesn't know Fujin's thoughts. All she could see is Fujin constantly struggling in order to protect her. Kurenai wants to help, but can't because of the seals Orochimaru placed in her body that seals her chakra, and the poison in her body makes it impossible for her to be able to do much, so she is currently very weak and a total burden. He doesn't have to protect me, so why is he doing this? This doubt has been plaguing Kurenai for a while now, and she can't think of a possible answer. Suddenly, Fujin felt a wave of chakra, and tree branches started to grow out of the ground near Kurenai. At the same time, the offensive he was facing also increased by 3 times. Fujin was still able to keep up, but his attention on Kurenai's side decreased a little bit. And in that little time Kurenai was entangled by branches and was dragged away. Seeing Kurenai being entangled and being dragged away by tree branches, Fujin sighed. "Damn it, I can't let her die or be captured, else Orochimaru would doubt." Immediately, Fujin clenched his fist. More iron sand appeared out of the ground and combined with the iron sand that was initially protecting Kurenai and turned into a big hand made of iron sand. The iron sand hand then went forward and immediately grabbed Kurenai, who was being dragged away by the tree branches. At the same time, all the branches around her were shredded. At this moment, Hashirama flickered in front of Fujin and started another round of taijutsu battle, while also using wood release, cutting technique. And while Fujin countered Hashirama's offensive, Tobirama appeared on top of a tree not far away and started to weave hand signs. Tiger, rat, horse, snake, dragon, hands clap. That's. Although Fujin was busy fighting Hashirama, he did pay attention to Tobirama, and when he noticed the hand signs, he suddenly panicked. Can't let him use that jutsu on Kurenai. When Fujin was developing his Suijin clone, he studied and mastered many water-style jutsu. Therefore, the moment he noticed the hand signs, he immediately recognized the jutsu Tobirama was preparing to use. It's the highly dangerous water-style, water-severing wave. After needing enough chakra in his stomach, Tobarama spat out an extremely high-pressured jet of water from his mouth. Sweet. The jet of water was like a sharp knife. It severed everything that came in its path and rushed towards Kurenai, who was held by the hand of iron sand. Seeing that water-severing wave was about to reach Kurenai, Fujin instantly disappeared from his position, and without any hesitation appeared in front of Kurenai. Fujin knows that if this water-style jutsu, which is capable of severing the roots of Shinju, were to even touch Kurenai, it would either kill her or take away some organ depending on where it hits. And with Kurenai's current condition, it is impossible to dodge or defend against it. So Fujin can only choose to use his own body to block it by hardening his bones to an extreme degree. But Kurenai doesn't know this, so when she saw Fujin's action, her heart was touched deeply. She stared at his back with a blank expression, and for a moment a strange and unknown emotion that she has never felt before was felt by her for the first time. Fujin didn't notice Kurenai's change. He was busy controlling the iron sand to form a shield in front of him in order to reduce the momentum and pressure of the water jet. Sweet. As the water came into contact with the iron sand shield, it instantly cut through the iron sand shield guarding Fujin's body and made an ear-piercing sound that shook the eardrums of all the three alive people. And at the same moment, the water jet that slashed past the iron sand shield rushed towards Fujin without any decrease in pressure or momentum. The iron sand shield was completely useless? Thought Fujin in amazement, as he was also surprised by this. Although the iron sand shield was hurriedly created and was in an incomplete state, so Fujin knew that it wouldn't be much effective, and didn't have many expectations of it to be able to stop the water-severing wave, however. The fact that it didn't pose even a little bit of resistance still surprised Fujin, albeit slightly. Swish. With the sound of swish, the high-pressure water jet ran across Fujin's body from right leg to chest and all the way to the head. Crack, crack. The wind mask on Fujin's face cracked because of the water jet. The cracks soon spread all over the mask. It shattered into multiple small fragments and fell to the ground. Not only the mask, but even the black gold-hemmed cloak that Fujin was wearing was also cut open and fell to the ground. The metal mesh armor under his kimono was not safe either. It was cut into two pieces, and the same was the case with his skin and outer muscles that were cut and started to bleed. The blood gushed out and stained his clothes. Drip, drip. At the same time, blood dripped on the ground from the corners of his mouth. Haha! Fujin squatted on the ground and panted heavily. His long white hair was in a mess and covered his face. Even the iron sand hand that was protecting Kurenai collapsed, causing her to fall on the iron sand powder, so she wasn't injured. Kurenai was at a loss at what was happening. She got up with some difficulty and walked closer to Fujin with the intention of helping him stand up. Upon walking closer, she noticed the blood on the ground and also on his clothes, and unknowingly, to her slight trickle of tears, started to stream down her face. Kurenai tried to help Fujin get up, but was rejected by her. Worried about his condition, Kurenai eagerly said to Fujin, "Please, just go. You don't have to worry about me. You don't have to put yourself at risk for my sake. I am only an orphan, so whether I live or die would make no difference to anyone. Nobody would mower." "Shut up," Fujin said in a low tone. "But you are seriously injured, and he is after me." "You don't ha." Kurenai tried to retort. "I said shut up," shouted Fujin in anger, and after taking a breath, he continued in a deep tone, "I won't let you die here. So just shut up and stay behind me." Kurenai was silent as she stared at Fujin. She didn't know what to say. She doesn't know what to do. All she could feel was her heart that was beating faster as she looked at the man in front of her. The fear and loneliness in her heart were also being cleared up. Truthfully speaking, Kurenai was scared, very scared. From the moment Orochimaru kidnapped her, she knew that Orochimaru would kill her after he uses her. After all, what reason does he have to keep her alive after he achieves his purpose? And even if he doesn't achieve his purpose, he would kill her regardless. After all, he wouldn't want to leak intelligence about his purpose, right? So once she is dead, it would be all over for her. Her mother died in the Third Great Shinobi War, and her father died on the night of Kyuubi's attack. She is an orphan, therefore no one would know or deeply care about how she died and who killed her. In a way, it's not that bad, after all. Kurenai has been suffering from fear and loneliness for years, ever since she lost her father. So death could be a fitting end to it all, because even if she doesn't want to die, who would save her from Orochimaru? True, she has friends she can generally count on, but none of them is capable enough to rescue her from the hands of Orochimaru. Heck, they wouldn't even know who is the perpetrator. And even if they do know, they wouldn't be able to find her here in the middle of nowhere. Kurenai understands this full well, because Orochimaru made sure to not leave any tracks behind. As for the village, would village really care if an Umbu went missing? After all, this isn't too strange. The death toll in Umbu is very high. And as a member of the elite, Teamro Kurenai has also personally experienced the village's darkness and knows full well that if she went missing for a long time, she would either be considered dead or a missing nin, and rescue is unlikely. And both cases would ultimately mean death. And nobody would really mourn her death. Her friends may feel sad for a few days, but they would soon forget her and move on. Although that's cold, this is how shinobi are. This is shinobi's true nature, ruthless in their bones, and everyone has witnessed too many deaths to care about one more. This is why, when she sees this man fighting against Orochimaru to rescue her, giving his all just to protect her from him, and going as far as to shield her with his own body without any care about his own life, Kurenai is deeply touched. She doesn't know if she knows who this man truly is, but she doesn't want him to die for her. Yet when he says, "I won't let you die here. So, just shut up and stay behind me." All the fear in her heart vanished instantly, and strong emotions burst out of her heart. All the words she wanted to use to persuade Fujin were choked back, and she could only nod obediently. Following Kurenai's nod, Fujin stood up and pulled Kurenai behind him. Even though his current state looked a bit miserable because of all the blood, he wasn't really all that injured. The water-severing wave didn't cut deep enough to reach viscera, and the jet of high-pressured water was completely blocked by a periosteum made of incredibly hard and dense bones. So, although there is a lot of blood because of the tearing of the skin, making it seem as if he is seriously injured, but it's just skin injury and doesn't affect his combat power in the slightest. After pulling Kurenai behind him, Fujin looked in the direction where Orochimaru was hiding and cursed inwardly. "Orochimaru, don't force me to use Shikatsumiyaku. Otherwise, I can't help it and might end up killing you." Shodame Hokage Hashirama and Naidame Hokage Tobarama are both Edo Tensei, so they are almost immortal. No matter how many times they are destroyed, they will keep on resurrecting unless their souls are pulled out of their bodies. If he was Hyuga Kuroto / Yama, that means using his main body, then he would have been able to pull out the souls of the two Hokage, or used truth-seeking orbs to permanently destroy the two Edo Tensei, or maybe used puppet-cursing sphere on the two Edo Hokage to either take control of the two Hokage from Orochimaru, or used it on Orochimaru to make him print the Edo Tensei release hand signs, but unfortunately, currently he is Fujin, therefore, neither can he pull out their souls nor can he destroy their bodies with truth-seeking orbs, nor can use puppet-cursing sphere to control either of the three. If he was Homasubi, then he would have used Genjutsu on Orochimaru to control him and release him using the Edo Tensei release hand signs, or simply used Enten, Ashihomi, to continuously burn the two Edo Hokage. But unfortunately, currently, he is not Homasubi, so this option doesn't work either. And if he was Suijin, then he would have used Ice Collar of Subordination on either of the three to make them a puppet of his, or used chakra-locking ice cuffs to completely seal their chakra. But unfortunately, he is not Suijin either. So all these methods that could have easily dealt with Edo Tensei can't be used by Fujin. As for other methods, there is only Fuinjutsu, and not just any Fuinjutsu would work. The only one that would work is the Shiki Fujin / Reaper Death Seal that can seal the souls of the two Hokage inside the belly of the Shinigami. Sandaime Hokage also used Shiki Fujin / Reaper Death Seal when he faced the same situation. Just how experienced Sandaime Hokage is already well known. Despite having mastered almost all the jutsu in Konoha, except for the Kekkei Genkai and Hidden Jutsu, Sandaime Hokage had to resort to Shiki Fujin / Reaper Death Seal in order to deal with the two Edo Tensei Hokage. This clearly implies that only Shiki Fujin / Reaper Death Seal can permanently deal with Edo Tensei. Unfortunately, the current Fujin doesn't know how to use this Shiki Fujin / Reaper Death Seal, as it's highly secret, and no matter how much he searched, Fujin didn't find information about this seal. If Fujin were to look in the Scroll of Seals, then obviously he can find information about this Fuinjutsu. But can he get his hands on the Scroll of Seals? Obviously no. Moreover, even if he knew how to use this Fuinjutsu, Fujin wouldn't dare to use it. After all, he is not so eager to meet Yondaime Hokage and Inkyubi, right? Most of the other high-end Fuinjutsu wouldn't be able to remove the souls from Orochimaru's binding, and general sealing methods wouldn't work either, and it would be the same as before. Orochimaru would be able to remove those seals, thus managing to free the two Hokage. Moreover, there is no telling if Orochimaru has other Edo Tensei in his hands. Just as Fujin was pondering over how to deal with the two Hokage, the surrounding dimmed and moonlight completely disappeared, and all they could see was pure black and nothing else. Kurenai exclaimed, "What happened? A Genjutsu?" Fujin nodded lightly. "Yes, it's just a Genjutsu, used by your Shodame Hokage. It only affects your vision. Other senses should still work. Although, given your current condition, your senses seem to be dull." Kurenai was silent. She doesn't know how to respond to him. Fujin sighed and said, "Anyhow, stay close." "All right." Kurenai nodded. Fujin obviously knows this Genjutsu, as he has also learned it. Infinite Darkness Jutsu places hallucinatory darkness on the target's eyesight, causing them to see nothing but black. Although the target cannot see, they can still sense chakra and rely on their other senses. Besides, this Genjutsu is completely useless to Fujin, as he has Byakugan and can directly see chakra. Whyish. As soon as Fujin finished speaking, the surrounding trees again rushed at him in the cover of darkness. Seeing the endless stream of trees about to swallow Kurenai completely, Fujin had no choice but to get serious now. Immediately, he slammed his hands together and controlled the iron sand. Clap. As soon as Fujin clapped his hands together, the magnet chakra in his body surged and under his control. All the iron sand that he could quickly use combined and formed a thick spherical metallic around Kurenai, protecting her from the trees. Although the spherical shell protected her, it also isolated her in complete darkness. And feeling no presence around her, Kurenai tried to move around to find Fujin but couldn't, and shouted nervously, "Hey Double-H, where did you go?" But there was no response from Fujin. Only the sound of trees constantly colliding with the outer iron surface rang in her ears, which made Kurenai more nervous. After using all the iron sand to protect Kurenai, Fujin looked at the endless trees constantly wrapping around him and sighed. He wasn't really worried. The trees do absorb chakra, but it's not that big of a problem for him. What's troublesome is that he will have to rely on his other Kekkai Genkai. I have not yet mastered Scorch Release completely, so I shouldn't use it in this battle. Although I can also use Typhoon Release, it's not that useful in this situation. It seems I have no other choice but to use Shikatsumiyaku. Far away from the fight, Orochimaru, who stood on the canopy of a tall giant tree, stood with his hands on his chest and looked at the battle in the distance with solemn expression. After he released a few restraints on the two Edo Tensei, the strength that the two Edo Hokage are able to use has increased. Therefore, Orochimaru thinks that the two Hokage should be able to deal with Fujin. After all, would release secret technique. Nativity of a world of trees is not a jutsu that can be withstood by anyone. This has been proven countless times when the village was created by Shodame Hokage. Therefore, Orochimaru is convinced that he must win. But even with this confidence, Orochimaru is not sure completely. There is also a matter that Shodame Hokage did not use it in his peak state. But even then, the background of Amatsukami makes him feel a bit restless. At this time, the fierce fighting in the distance came to a halt, and those crazily growing trees also stopped. Orochimaru can be certain that Fujin has been trapped in the sea of trees, and everything returned to silence. Looking at the distance, Orochimaru muttered with a doubtful look, "Is it over so fast?"